Hello and welcome to the Home Screen Podcast. This is episode 25 and today I'm joined again by Charlotte.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I don't know what to say, but hi, I'm here again. Not for a while though.
I know, well, nice to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
Today we're going to be talking about the new Superman film.
So good.
Yeah, we both really enjoyed it. For anyone that doesn't know, a new Superman film has come out, directed by James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, the 2021 Suicide Squad, and a few others. Yeah, we both really enjoyed it. But before we get into our thoughts, just a quick synopsis. So if anyone doesn't know the story of Superman, it's a classic. It's a very well-known... This isn't so much like an origin story of Superman. It starts with him having already been Superman for 3 years. And the film starts kind of media res, where you kind of jump straight into the action. It's not really a spoiler, but the film starts right after he's lost his first fight. And so it kind of jumps straight in with him already as a fully fledged Superman. And this kind of goes through a series of events of him grappling with trying to be a good Superman, and there kind of being like conflicting opinions about like, is he doing the right thing? Are his intentions as pure as they seem, which obviously they are. The film's antagonist is Lex Luthor, played really well by Nicholas Hoult. And of course, Superman himself is David Corenswet, which he hasn't done that many films. He was in Twisters, which I saw last year, and he was in Pearl. He was a boyfriend that got murdered in Pearl.
Oh,
lived in the barn.
him!
The film projectionist guy.
Yeah.
So he's done a handful of other small things, but yeah, this is kind of his third big film, and he's an incredible Superman, I thought.
Yeah, he played him so well, to the T, I thought.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to beat Christopher Reeve, who was the original Superman, because that's just so iconic and everyone always thinks of him as that. But I think this is a really faithful adaptation of the character. I think that my biggest compliment to the film really is that James Gunn, I think he was also the writer and the director, but he really understands like what makes Superman so special. Like he really gets how to tell a good Superman story about how it's him just trying to do the right thing, protect people, make sure that no one is harmed or loss of life. Like he's just there as a protector of Earth.
And it was really shown through like some of the little scenes throughout Superman, like the little good things that he'd do but no one would notice, but he did it, and that showed like how much of a good heart Superman has.
Even small things, like there's a shot where he swoops in and saves a squirrel from being crushed by something at some point in the film. So this is the start of the new, I guess, era of DC movies, the new DCU. So I guess anything that came out during the 2010s to kind of more recent years, with like Man of Steel, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, I guess is a kind of weird in-between one. But all those kind of films, then this is now moving on from that. This is the new canon. James Gunn establishing this as kind of like how Iron Man was the first film in the MCU that was like, this is the start of the universe. What did you think kind of overall going into this?
I thought that it was going to be like almost a direct remake of the original Superman. So I was going in with that mindset, because I'd not really seen the trailer, because I don't really watch trailers before movies.
That's probably good, considering that most of them nowadays spoil so much of the plot.
But then I was really pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a direct remake. It was just a totally original film.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like how it was a original story, but there's also bits and pieces of, I guess, not necessarily his origin story, but there's bits that you see that you'd expect to see. Like you see the Fortress of Solitude, like the ice castle, like in the original. You see his Earth parents, his Ma and his Pop. I love how comic booky the film is. I think it feels like a very like visual comic book with like big events happening. It's very fast paced. It's very bright and colourful. I think it's, I guess, one of the criticisms people could have had of the old DCEU films, like Man of Steel and stuff. They were quite dark and gritty and grounded. I guess trying to go for kind of like an MCU tone with like Iron Man and stuff, whereas this is like he's got a very traditional Superman outfit with the red underpants and
but that is Superman though. You can't change that. There is iconic colours.
Yeah, I think it's a really faithful adaptation. Like even at the start of the film when it says the age rating and the title of the film, like the BBFC splash card at the start. We saw this in IMAX, and it's definitely glad we saw it in IMAX for the visuals and the sound. On that start splash screen of the title card of the movie, there was even a like comic book panel like behind it, which is a really nice touch. It really shows that like they are trying to not be like a one-for-one comic book accurate adaptation of Superman, but they are trying to make this a really strong start, like a really good original. Is there anything you didn't like, or anything you wish was different, or anything was confusing, like, or are you just like all around happy?
I loved all of it.
Loved all of it. Zero complaints.
I just wish the IMAX cinema seats in view had the recliners there.
You don't like having to constantly lean back?
No, I can't, because I've got little legs, so I can't like constantly push myself back into the seats.
That's short people problems.
Yeah, no.
To be fair, I always find that like I feel like I'm having to like put my feet at a position that keeps me pushed back.
Yeah.
Should we use this as the social media clip? Just us complaining about the IMAX seats. What first world problems. We did have best seats in the house though, which was pretty funny. Because I booked these like, a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And I was the first person to book seats in the screening. So we walk in halfway through the trailers and there's like hundreds of people and just 2 empty seats in the middle and we just walk in. like the king and queen sitting in the royal box. Like, smack bang in the middle.
Make way.
Make way, true comic book fans coming through.
I remember I used to read quite a few comic books when I was younger.
Really? What type of comic books?
I can't remember, but I think one was like probably a Lazy Town one actually.
Oh, right.
Used to. I remember that fondly actually. Yeah.
I used to get like magazines. I used to get Lego magazines and I used to get like a Cartoon Network magazine kind of thing. But I wish that like American comic books were more of a thing in the UK, like Marvel, Star Wars and DC comics, like where you could just go into like the corner shop and pick up like the latest Spider-Man comic. I wish that was more of a thing here. It is now. Like, it's more readily available now, but it seemed like a very American thing until I think the last like 10, 15 years.
There's just something so nostalgic about it.
I don't really have any complaints as such. There's a few things that like I do think it was very fast paced and some of it felt slightly too fast paced for me. I'm pretty sure this was the same cinematographer as the guy that did The Flash, and so some shots I thought were almost a bit too disorienting. There's an interrogation scene shot where it's very quickly whipping person to person to person. Some of the flying scenes and the action scenes, rather than them being cuts, is just like almost like a single fast moving camera motion, which I guess could almost give some people motion sickness of like how crazy it is.
Did
and
you
like
get
slightly
motion
warped.
sickness?
I didn't know,
No.
thankfully. Like, I still think it looked great, and I think the visual effects were 99% okay. There was a few that were a little odd. I think that's kind of, I don't really have many complaints that way. It was interesting because it didn't really feel like a James Gunn film. It felt, I guess they will have refined and kept combing through to make sure that it's like a good script. They wanted to start with a banger, but his other films are much more like tonally diverse. I think there was funny bits in this, but I wouldn't say overall it was like laugh out loud, whereas the Guardians of the Galaxy is very like up and down between like really emotional bits and really funny bits, whereas this was more
I get what you mean,
more dramatic and emotional than comedy.
It was definitely more emotional with like little bits of like comedic bits in it.
Last thing I want to say before we move on to spoilers, I think the casting was really, really good.
100%. Especially Superman. Literally looks.
He's just how you'd imagine him to be. He was perfect. Rachel Brosnahan, who's the person that plays Lois Lane, I thought was a really good choice as well. I think she and their dynamic of when they're kind of interviewing each other and arguing and chatting, I think they're really good matching. And then Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, who's just big angry bald man the whole time.
Looks like Hitman.
He does a bit actually, It'd be cool to see him in a Hitman movie. Okay, so moving on to talk about spoilers now. What was your favourite specific like scene in the movie or moment? What was your favourite bit you can pinpoint?
I liked the passionate scenes between Superman and Lois Lane.
How do you mean passionate?
Like the kissing
The
scene.
kissing, you like the kissing scene? Very in-depth film critiques. I like the kissing scenes.
So my favourite bit of the film was definitely when Superman's clone was revealed. What was his name before he was revealed as the clone?
Ultraman?
Is that him?
Yeah, he had a mask on beforehand.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that coming, and then when he revealed...
That was a very, like, comic book twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that fight was... It was quite a long fight scene, actually. It went through quite a lot of stages.
Oh, yeah. And then you weren't quite sure who was going to win, and maybe, like, Superman could maybe, like, sort of... Well, you know something's going to happen.
Like a premonition.
Yeah, like, then he could think, oh yeah, I know how he's going to fight, so he can, like, counteract that with
That's
his
true.
fighting, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what was going through my head when I was watching it, like, ooh.
Because he knows his moveset, because he knows himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess kind of related to that, like, Superman's kind of getting his ass kicked for a lot of the fights in the film because Lex Luthor studied him for so long, and he has, like, nearly 3,000 fight moves programmed because he studied his fighting style so much. So it was satisfying when Krypto comes in and they kind of get rid of the drones, and it's more of an even playing field.
Yeah.
Moving on to Krypto, the super dog, I thought that was really good.
Oh.
He was a great addition. I think he worked really well.
Do you reckon he must have been definitely a mixture of real dog and CGI? Or...
I think it's based off a real dog. It might even be based off of James Gunn's dog. I think it will have been fully CG in the film. But yeah, it was really good.
I thought another interesting bit was obviously Superman. One of his major weaknesses is it kryptonite? Yeah. And like, because you almost think if Superman is pretty much undefeatable in a lot of circumstances, but
for a lot of the movie, he's getting like really like beaten up.
Yeah, and he's like, he still outlives it, but this kryptonite, like enough of it could kill him off. You know what I mean?
I think that was probably my favourite bit of the film. The last half an hour was incredible, but I think one of my favourite section was probably the midpoint. So he's captured and is taken to this pocket dimension. He's in the cell with Metamorpho, who's the guy who basically turned his hand into kryptonite, played by Anthony Carrigan, who I kept being like, it's the guy from Barry, and you were like, who?
Yeah.
That section of him breaking out and that fight, even though it was kind of hard to follow at times when they were in that like rainbow river, going towards the black hole, like that section, and then getting out when he has kryptonite poisoning, then has to go home to his parents. That was my favourite bit. Like when he goes home to his like his ma and his pop, like, and the conversation his Earth dad has with him on the step outside when they're looking out at the cows, and he's saying that you just have to do the best you can do, and that parents. Oh, I forget the line where he says something really profound about how parents don't shape what the children are. You just give them the tools they need to succeed and be their own person. That was a really nice bit, actually. I was getting choked up watching
quite
that.
Like a motivational thing.
Especially when he's kind of at his low point there, having broken out, but he's got kryptonite poisoning, he doesn't know how he can succeed against Lex. I think that was a really good bit. That was my favourite bit, I think.
Oh yeah, actually, the Rainbow River bit. It was mentioned that it was like an anti-proton thing. So like, if you entered it, you'd get shredded, or like you wouldn't survive it. So how did like everyone in the
I think there was a bit of plot armor, but it was weird. They just kind of brushed past what that was, this kind of river. But it was just kind of like a river going towards the black hole at the bottom. Maybe because Superman's kind of like indestructible, he didn't get harmed by it, because he was always holding the baby above.
Yeah, true.
Let's talk about cameos quickly. There's a few pretty cool cameos of like famous people that popped up in it. His the projection at the start of his Superman parents.
Yeah.
It's Bradley Cooper.
Who is it? It didn't look like him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it looked that different.
No, it was Bradley Cooper.
No, let's have a look.
Guarantee you. Yeah, Bradley Cooper. It was Jor-El.
Oh no, it looked well different.
Well, that's an older photo.
Yeah.
So I really liked that.
To be honest,
actually.
I thought the mum was Lady Gaga. She looked a bit like her.
Imagine if it was those two.
Like, I was like, no, that isn't it, Lady Gaga, is it? She did look a little bit like her.
No, she is Angela Safran.
She does look a bit like Lady Gaga.
A little bit. That's really nice because Bradley Cooper plays Rocket Raccoon in all of the Guardians of the Galaxy films. So I guess he has a good working relationship with James Gunn, so it's nice to get him in as well. The other cameo is Peacemaker, who appears on like the late night TV show to kind of like badmouth Superman. I guess it's kind of not really a cameo, but I guess it's just kind of the first introduction to Supergirl, Millie Alcock.
Yeah, I
which
love
is
that
exciting.
bit.
I think that's coming out next year. the Supergirl film.
Oh, I hope so.
And I guess Krypto's going to be in that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Krypto is more her dog, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Krypto is her dog.
Yeah.
Superman was just like almost like fostering and babysitting.
Yeah. So I wonder where she was like that whole time then during the film.
He said that she was off partying because I think he said at the end like she can't get drunk on a planet with like a yellow sun, so she goes off to other worlds to party. Maybe the Supergirl film was happening at the same time as this. I don't know, but that was cool. I won't go into it in too much detail, but I did really appreciate the political commentary that I think was woven into it. I guess kind of the parallels can be drawn from the background conflict, and also using Lex Luthor and his side as almost a bit of an analogy for the current stuff that's happening in America. To be kind of vague and around it, but no, I think it was good to see that addressed. That background conflict there's quite a lot of obvious parallels to what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So the only other thing I wanted to talk about was the film starts. I think it's like saying like it's the threes. It's like 3 millennia ago, 3 decades ago, blah blah blah, whatever it was, and then saying I think it was like 3 days ago, Superman intervened between those two warring sides and stopped the conflict, picked up the president and like flew him out into the desert and pushed him against cactus, being like, "Don't do that again, or I'll come back." And then 3 hours ago or 3 minutes ago, he lost the fight against the guy, like the robot with the laser eye, who was actually Ultraman. And so we kind of start with just him having lost the fight. And then over the first half an hour, you kind of figure out what happened of him intervening. And that's why some of the public love him, some of the public don't like him. Did that work for you? Or would you have preferred to see him, the first scene, be him intervening in the conflict and then it goes from there?
Probably.
Would have helped?
Yeah, probably would have been good to have seen that to place more visual context instead of just reading that it had actually happened.
I guess I could see like both sides. I think it would have been helpful just to see it, but also then the first half an hour or so of the film hinges on everyone kind of unpacking what happened and why that happened. But yeah, it was an interesting choice to start like that, I think. And also quite nice that the first trailer of Superman that came out, back in the original teaser trailer, started with him slamming down into the ice, injured, and the camera pans around him and he calls for Krypto, which is kind of how the film starts. So it's nice that that's kind of how we're introduced to it.
Yeah.
So the film ends in quite a satisfying way, but obviously there's a lot of the plot threads are still left very open. Like Lex Luthor is still alive. Superman is kind of like redeemed in the eyes of Metropolis and the world. The conflict is over. None of the main characters really died. Haven't even talked about the Justice Gang, which was Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, who I actually thought was really good. The guy with all the little drones. And Hawk Girl, Isabella Merced. Like they're now kind of established as like a little group.
Quite like that 'cause, I don't know, it means that Superman isn't on his own, like trying to fight the problems of the world. Like he's got a clan now.
Yeah, he has some people he can call on for help.
Yeah.
Like because then you were kind of expecting him to kind of shoot over and intervene in that conflict, but then those three popping up and helping out there was actually quite good to kind of show that like he can work within them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess my question to you is like it ends in a satisfying way, but there's a lot of loose threads now out there that which they can then explore in future films. Are you excited by any of that? Are you going to want to watch any of the DC films going forward?
Yeah, definitely. If it means that like the next films are happening because of what happened at the end of Superman, like if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's the start. It is the start of the new DC universe of films, and I think like what can be daunting for a lot of people now is like with Marvel, they're now like 25 films in, and even though you can like I've seen some with you, and you can just watch them, enjoy them as films on their own. If you want to fully understand the broader narrative, it's kind of like you have to pick and choose ones you'd like to go and see, whereas you won't get the full overarching plot. Whereas now you've kind of started with the first DC film. Are you up for watching more?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there then. So thank you again for joining, Charlotte.
No, thank you for having me.
No problem. We live together, so I thought I may as well.
It was nice seeing the film with you as well.
No, it was good. Thank you for coming. If you haven't seen it, I think you should go and check it out. I think it's a really good adaptation and representation of Superman as a character. And I think for me, it is my favourite version of Superman, of all the Superman films I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
What, even the original? You prefer it over the original?
I respect the original, and I have a lot of... And I was really glad to have found... Because I watched it for the first time this year with you. So yeah, I really enjoyed the original and I hold that in quite high esteem. I think this is my favourite because it covers so much ground and I think it does a really good job of showing Superman and what he stands for. Man of Steel is also good, the original is good, but I think that this for me is not my favourite.
I always feel dead proud of myself when like I recommend good films to you, because you know you're such like a big film fan, and I'm like, oh, but you haven't seen these films that I've seen, which I love, and then
That's true.
I share them with you, and you love them too. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like an accomplished woman.
Accomplished woman. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Home Screen Podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please find our social media links. They're in the Spotify, YouTube and Apple Music descriptions. And we hope to see you in the next episodes.
Oh, that was my stomach. I don't know if you heard
We'll
that.
keep that in.
See ya.
And we'll see you next episode.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.